each other. Hold on, hold on, don't give up, don't give in, just hold on, don't you bend, don't give up, don't give in, just hold on.
It's Hip Hop Real Estate TV, and we're spending the evening for the annual Freedom Fund Dinner being brought to you by Boston's own NAACP right here at the Westin Hotel in downtown Boston. A great evening ahead of us. Plenty of awardees of the movers and shakers in Boston.
Guest with us tonight who has to leave. There's a lot going on in DC right now. We're very fortunate to have a good friend of the NAACP here tonight. I have had an opportunity to talk to her on many occasions, particularly her staff down in DC and her staff here in Boston. She joined us last year here at the NAACP Freedom Fund Dinner, and she offered herself and said, whatever you need, Michael, let us know. We'd like to be supportive of the work that you're doing. So I'd like to have you welcome a good friend of ours, your U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I just want to say one thing about the NAACP. The NAACP means a lot of things to a lot of people. But to me, what the NAACP really means is it's about having our voices heard. Washington is a place that doesn't always hear the voices of the people. When we talk about gun violence, there are too many in Washington who just don't want to hear. When we talk about trying to build a future for our children, invest in education, in transportation, so that our children will have a real future.
And I personally thank him for always taking my call, responding without any hesitation to support our youth program, and for respecting our role as an advocacy organization, where our mandate is to challenge the status quo and to beat the drum of fairness, equality, and opportunity, even when it sometimes puts us on opposite sides of the conversation. Please stand to your feet and join me in recognizing our mayor, Thomas M. Menino.
This event's a very special event because Michael Curry, his team, and the work they've done over the last couple of years is just so meaningful. Especially this year is more meaningful as it comes on the 50th anniversary of the March in Washington, the 150th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. As a country, we have come a long way. As a city, Boston has even come further, but we still have a lot of work to do. When you see what's going on in Washington today, the parallelization of political parties, we got to make sure they understand they're down there to help people, not to have rhetoric going on. The NAACP does that in many different ways. I want to say to Michael Curry, it's been great working with you.
Thank you all so much, and thank you, may I say this? Thank you for electing me your United States Senator. Thank you all so much for making this possible. I just got my NAACP report card, and I received an A, ladies and gentlemen, from the NAACP. It's on healthcare, it's on education, it's on housing, and I wish my mother could be here to see this A, because my mother always said that she was going to donate my brain to Harvard Medical School as a completely unused human organ, and tonight, Ma, I got an A from the NAACP for my work fighting for the issues that are important.
I want to offer congratulations to all of tonight's honorees. Thank you for toiling in the social justice vineyard. Thank you for the personal sacrifices that you make each and every day. We're all beneficiaries of your activism and your sacrifice. I'm reminded of an article recently written by Charles Ellison, who said that Facebook and Twitter are not a replacement for political activism. But you all know that. So I thank you for being here and for investing in the good work of the NAACP. I thank Michael Curry for his leadership. And it is my humbling honor to be here this evening to accept the Thurgood Marshall Award on behalf of current Secretary of State and former United States Senator John Kerry. I've always maintained, thank you, John Kerry, for working for decades towards that right fix. And now for the video.
Hello, everybody. I cannot tell you how appreciative I am of City Councilor Ayanna Pressley for accepting this award on my behalf. Ayanna is a great friend, a very, very special person, a wonderful member of my staff, and I am so proud of the work that she is doing for the people of Boston, for the respect and love that everybody has for her. So Ayanna, thank you. Thank you all so much for all that you do.
The president, the CEO, the #1 numero head honcho of the NAACP
That's the best
of
intro I've
Boston.
ever got.
Hey, I was trying to butter you up a little bit. Tonight is your night. What does tonight mean to you, and why that theme for the 2013 annual dinner tonight?
You know, I think there's a few things. One, I love celebrating our history.
Yes.
Like, once you understand your history, you understand your greatness, you understand your contributions, then it's harder to pull a trigger to somebody else who looks like you. It's harder to drop out of school. It's harder to not get a job and leave your house and go find employment. It's harder to not raise your kids the best way you can if you know about our history and our struggle. I think that somewhere along the way, we lost sight of that. So we have people that are lost and confused. So whenever we get a chance to connect the dots, and like you said, the Emancipation Proclamation is connecting a dot to mass incarceration. The March on Washington is connecting the dot to the fact that we need to be marching today for jobs. That our unemployment rate is twice or 3 times that of white Americans. That's something to work towards. And I think once we reflect, then we need to act. So I think that's what tonight at the crossroads is all about.
It's Hip Hop Real Estate's Courtney B with President Michael Curry, the NAACP, the Boston branch, Freedom Fund Dinner 2K13.
Thank you.
Counselor at Large, Ayanna Pressley, and
You got it right.
of course, and congratulations once again. We just had our primary elections on Tuesday, and as I hear it, you were one of the few candidates that had like the most votes out of everybody for the mayor seat.
It's very humbling, yes.
What does that say to you about your work you've done, and what is your outlook for the next few years as council at large now that you've gotten that seat back?
You know what I think it speaks to is really the power of every voice, the power of every neighborhood, and the power of us. The fact that I have now topped the ticket twice, that I'm the only woman on this council and the first woman of color elected, it really is so much bigger than me. I think it's a mandate of my agenda and those issues that I champion that have been ignored for a long time. You know, fighting for women and girls, fighting to break cycles of poverty and violence, fighting to reduce trauma in all of our communities. So that really just speaks to how more effective government can be when you have a diversity of life experience, perspective, and opinion and thought, developing those solutions.
Jeff Johnson, the keynote speaker on tonight, who gave a great message. Why the NAACP, why your involvement, why be here tonight, and why is it important for Boston to come out and support the NAACP?
I mean, the NAACP helped raise me. I was former National Youth Director of the NAACP, so I cut my teeth there. I learned a lot about organizing, mobilization, resources, how to do things the right way. The NAACP is not for everybody, but it is the one organization that I think, with the right kind of investment, has the ability to create change where others can't. And so whether you're a member of the organization or not, it's still an organization that should be supported because the base of volunteers that the association has is unlike any other organization. And used the right way, there's no limits to the kind of change that the organization can create.
Darnell Williams, President, Chief Executive Officer of the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts, as well as the President of the Association of Executives at the National Urban League.
And when we speak about the Urban League, we speak about the NAACP in Boston. How important are the work that you guys are doing, and how closely do you get to work together? Since a lot of the issues I would presume that you guys are fighting for are pretty similar.
Well, I think it's great. I think one of the specific examples that I can point to is the recent mayoral debate that we did at the Kroc Center with the communities of color, the NAACP, the Urban League, And what we found from the candidates, it was one of the best debates that they had encountered because of our collaborative work.
Yeah.
We're also focusing in on going forward that it's unacceptable for the newspapers and television stations to have a debate without diversity in the mix. They're not known for their diversity. They don't have diversity. They relegate diversity to the weekend for about 30 minutes.
Yes.
And when I look at 457 New England Cable News, other than LaToya, there's nobody of color on those anchor spots. And so we are going to push back on them to the candidates and to those folks and say, it's a shotgun marriage, it's not acceptable. So Michael is going to be joining with us and the others to say that this is unacceptable if we are a majority city of minorities.
Yes, sir.
And minorities need to be at the table and on the front side, not on the back side.
With me, I'm joined by the chancellor of one of Massachusetts' finest higher learning institutions, UMass Boston, Dr. Keith Motley, who also sits on a special committee tonight, the 2013 Freedom Fund Dinner Planning Committee. So with all that you do, Dr. Motley, Chancellor Motley, why this event? What made you sign up this year to participate and be behind the scenes, so to speak, in making this great event happen?
Well, I'm just honored to be a part of anything that has to do with the NAACP.
Yes.
You know, we, if you are a person who grew up during the period that I grew up in, and you are not committed to this kind of work and supporting organizations that supported you as a young person growing through and making it so that it's possible for me to be a university president or chancellor. All the shoulders I stand on are people who have some affiliation with the NAACP. So it's amazing to have the opportunity to serve.
And a mad love and a shout to my man Kerry and the team at Hip Hop Real Estate. I always love interviewing with y'all. Much love, NAACP. Peace.
Good evening, family. My name is Ayanna Pressley. I'm one of your at-large Boston City Councilors. I'm joining you at the NAACP Annual Freedom Fund Dinner, and I'm joined by Hip Hop Real Estate. They're always in the building, making sure that you're educated and informed so that you can stay engaged, because we need you to. Thank you, Hip Hop Real Estate.
I am so grateful to be here, part of Hip Hop Real Estate, being part of this great event, and looking forward to participating in future events where they are in the mix.
What's up? This is your man Jeff Johnson. You're watching Hip Hop Real Estate.
This is Senator Elizabeth Warren on Hip Hop Real Estate. Glad to be here.